Welcome back, champions. War number 9 of season 59, and well, we've got a 9-fight war all lined up for you with some pretty tricky defenders along the way, so this one should be a little bit interesting. I'm going to be bringing into heat with Ironheart and Humantorch, and Moleman's coming along for the ride, so let's jump in and see how we handle this one. And we're on path 4 like normal, and first fight up is going to be this Prowler. I'm going to be using Ironheart. You can see I did turn on Rupture mode because Prowler is Incinerate immune. So Ironheart is probably my favorite Prowler counter because once you get the 5 debuffs on him, you can't falter, you can't miss. So it makes fighting him very easy. You can see I've got the tracking debuff on right now. The other nice thing is I can parry non-contact mediums. So it really takes everything out of Prowler's kit. It takes everything off this nodes because I don't have to worry about reverse controls. They're a little late to punish, not a big deal. This fight is well in control. Just going to bait the special ones I can counter right away without having to worry about the falter. And, really Ironheart makes this Prowler fight very, very easy, very straightforward. I don't think there's really much to worry about. And in about 50 seconds, he is down. Now, I wish I could say the same for this next fight. You've heard me say it, I don't like fighting Void. For whatever reason, I always take some unnecessary damage. And well, you can see here, I'm deciding, you know what, let's just try and nuke him. We're going to turn on some of the skill boosts. We're going to be using Moleman, and we're going to fight this like a Moleman fight in war. So you're going to see that I throw on a power boost 1. Plan is here to get 2, hopefully 3 fights out of that power start 1. So we're going to go quick here. We're going to, parry heavy, and then we're going to do 1 more. Now we're going to let him hit into our block. And now we're just going to go for the nuke. Now, one of the things that's kind of missing in this that I probably should have done is I could have turned on recoils, and I think that probably would have gotten him down a lot further. And now I've got the glancing up, which is just going to slow this fight down. Was hoping I could have kind of avoid some of that, but you can see every hit is glancing. I'm not getting any crits on the special 2. I'm not getting any bleeds. I'm ticking down from Void's debuffs and all that. Just kind of turned into a ugly, slow fight that I didn't want. I wanted to go quick because I wanted to be able to use that Power Start 1 boost on the next 2 fights as well. So we're 50 seconds in, Void is down. You can see I go quick. Let's move on. And with no time to waste, we move up to Dust. You know what we're doing here. This is Ironheart. This is the easier node on 4B to put Dust on. I don't know why the placement here of Dust. There's nothing particularly tricky on this node that does anything for Dust. We still have the Power Start 1 boost on, so we're going to try to go a little quick here on this node. We don't have to worry about her going unblockable. So you can see we're doing bigger combos. Yes, you get some debuffs on you, but they really don't do much of anything for Dust on this node and don't really affect Ironheart in any real big way. Yeah, it slows the fight down a little bit, but so be it. Even slowed down, we are 45 seconds in. She's down to 30% health. She's kind of melting here at this point. I'm going to bait a special 2. Get a nice little dex away from the second part of it. I'm going to do a 5-hit combo into my striker, into a couple more hits, and Dust is going to be down. Now for a fight that I feel is harder than Dust on this node, and it's going to be against this Knull. I'm going to be using Moleman. You can see there I checked my Power Start 1. I've got a couple seconds. I'm going to throw on a couple quick heals. We're going to jump right into the fight very quickly to take advantage of that Power Start 1 across 3 fights. Did it work? Yes, it did. So now you can see at the beginning there, I had to back away. The problem was there as well. I did take a little bit of a hit, so it removed all my mass to kind of block the hit that was there. Not the end of the world. It's just this fight, because the way Knull is, you're going to get 3 debuffs on you no matter who you use. So there we do get a power, a special 2. Here I'm trying to bait his special 2. Now we just need a good clean dex because we now have more debuffs on us than one person can possibly imagine. So, there we, unfortunate, we kind of take a little bit of hit, but, now we're out of our frenzy mode, so we can start shrugging debuffs again. Not quite yet, because, well, it's just the way this node goes. We still have 2 on us, trying desperately to get rid of him, but it's not going to happen, so he's going to be unblockable the rest of the fight. And, well, we're going to throw another special 2, then we just have to bait his special 2, get a good clean dex, which we do, and then we can counter. Here, we're going to throw a special 1 to hope to finish him. And, all in all, not the worst Knull fight there, considering he was unblockable for most of it. And now for a fight that, I wasn't sure exactly how this was going to go. I figured Ironheart could stack on enough debuffs to keep the healing under control. The root may help me with rock stacks and things like that. So we'll kind of see how this goes. The plan here, of course, is to, just do some medium-light mediums, stack on some incinerates. Here I do a 4-hit combo. This is where the fight kind of goes wrong, right from the very beginning. I thought her special 1 when I came into it had 5 hits. It's got 6 hits. So I put myself in a real bad position real early on. You can see here, I'm just going to kind of throw that. I wanted to get him over the 15 stack limit and give him a little bit of power at the same time. So I figured when he was rooted, it was safe. Now we're hitting into his block, trying to just get him to get to a special 1. Okay, now we're kind of back on track, but he throws the root. Yeah, so, just kind of a real clunky start to this fight. Now, realized my mistake. I realized it was 6 hits. Now we're just going to try to recover here a little bit. We're going to, try to refocus. The start of that was kind of ugly. There, we screwed up again. We kind of got rooted, and for whatever reason, I struggle when my back is against the wall or when I'm rooted against things. Dexing is heavy. I just have never, in all the years he's been out, I've just never gotten the timing exactly right. And now he was at 15 again. I was just trying to hit into his block. I get an accidental intercept. Tried to do a parry and then just a medium to get some more power in there, and it's just... There we go. So we get him over a bar of power. He's at 15 stacks. The root's there, so now probably out of root. I don't have enough incinerates on. We do throw a special 2. Fortunately, it didn't trigger protection. He's at 10. I can do a normal 5-hit combo. 15. We can dex the unblockable special. Okay, we're back in control. Now we're going to throw a special 1. We need some more incinerates. We're only at 4. Okay, I'm paying attention. He's at 9 rock stacks. So here we just do medium, light, medium, get to 12. One more medium, light, medium combo. We'll push him over a bar and 15 stacks. Perfect. So now we just need to bait a special 1. If he wants to throw one, there we go. We get a good dex out of the special 1. We can do medium, light, medium. We can go into a striker. We can do medium, light, medium again, into a special. This should put him right at 15. Oh, it put him at 14. Lovely. So there, I was thinking, okay, well, if I can get a parry, not paying attention to the root timer. And like I said, I struggle when he is rooted, or when I am rooted, to evade specials and heavies. And that was no exception. Stupid fight. Very slow. Would probably not do this one again. Here you can see we're going to throw on a quick little revive. We're going to go back in. He's got 12,000 health. All I needed in that last war was to avoid that last root because it was medium light and he is dead. And probably the biggest disappointment in that fight, outside of the death, is I've got to throw in some health potions into Ironheart. I'm using her a lot the rest of this war. I've still got 3 fights left with her. I almost thought in a way of not healing up for this fight, because this one doesn't scare me at all, and I should be able to heal a little bit during it. So, there was a thought. I decided against it, but, hindsight, we probably could have gotten away with it. You can see here, just to point that out, we do start at 86% health, okay? And now with this one, I'm not too worried. Once we get our incinerates on there, you're going to see the bubble shield counter will stop. We'll stay at 3 because I do turn off a lot of the abilities and the node's abilities because I have the incinerates on there, which is an awesome little fact behind Ironheart. Here, you know, if she would stick to throwing special 2s, which is what I want, her special 2 is very easy to dex, don't have to worry about reverse controls with Ironheart, you know. So here, we can just kind of hit into her as much as we want to. You know, that's the nice thing about the power focus is, you know, you get her over 2 bars, you can just kind of hit her a lot. And, you know, doing fairly well. Probably should have thrown a special 1 there. Would have made a little bit more sense, but, you know, we'll throw it here. She's down to 10% health. And she is dead. We did heal up a little bit. Not as much as I'd like, but, you know, it was a nice fight. Get a little healing in. Well, we brought humantorch along with us. We might as well use him. We're going to use him right here for this Rintrah on Hazard Shift Incinerate Shock. It's just going to help drive humantorch's flame stacks up even higher on this node. So just really here checking to make sure flame on applied. So we're just going to go in. This has got empathetic lock on it, so, you know, not really a big deal. Just going to prevent debuffs normally, but of course, when you do flame on, they are passive, so they go through that anyway. And you can see here, we're just kind of building up rock stacks. We're building up our temperature, knocking Rintrah down like we should do. Here, we bait out a special 1. You know, just now kind of waiting out the shock. It's not a big deal if I get a couple on me. So, you know, we're just doing some parries and a couple hits to just go ahead and build some temperature there with the parries or some flame stacks, you know, keep our temperature up as much as possible. And, you know, Rintrah here is melting for a big, beefy, you know, champion such as Rintrah. This fight is going very, very quick. You know, you do, like I said, have to kind of play around the shock here. I decided, you know what, I've got enough health. He's going to melt quick enough. I'm just going to go even in shock mode. And I probably could have done that all along and not had too much to worry about, but we wanted to be safe. And now, for a fight that if you've been around the channel for a while and you've watched my war videos, you know I struggle with this node. There is so much going on. So you know what? I finally got a little smart. You know, it's rare, but it happens. And said, you know what? The biggest thing on this node to me is the falter. Let's bring in somebody who can counter that. So we're going to use an Ironheart. We did put on rupture mode because future Antman will reduce the time on incinerates. And there, what did I say that I kind of mess up with? Is the falter. You know, we needed to get 5 debuffs on there. We didn't have it. Now we've got it. Now the falter is not going to matter. So really the main thing here is just fighting future Antman and watching that unstoppable timer. There, perfect timing on the special 1. I go unstoppable, you know, because I am far enough away during that special 1, it doesn't really matter. And you can see here, I'm kind of paying attention to it. Got a little lucky there. You got a little close for a brief second, but we were able to get away with it. You know, we're going to stack on some more ruptures here. Now we just want him to throw a special. Perfect, he throws that special. I don't mind dexing the special. I do get to put a chance to put some more debuffs on me. It keeps me out of the way. You know, like I said, you know, Ironheart does a good job of turning off a lot of the node. You know, don't have to worry about the falters. Just kind of have to worry about the unstoppable. I'm not going to take advantage of it and let him hit into my block and stuff like that while he's unstoppable. Here, we're getting a little close on the number of ruptures we've got applied. And you can see they all drop off, and now I've got to worry about falter again. And the other thing that I've got to worry about is this is future Antman. So when he has over 5 armors, I can't do a medium ending combo. So, you know, here I'm starting to worry a little bit because those ruptures did drop off. He's got 12 fury buffs, so we're just going to try to parry medium. You know, once again, we get the falter. Fortunately for us, we did have enough debuffs on there that we got the tracking back up. So now we're just going to try to build up some more ruptures to get us through the rest of this fight. That little spurt there really slowed us down, and I hate when I have to dex his special 2 because I will mess up that projectile. It moves slower than I think it would. And see, there we go. That's what I was saying earlier about having to pay attention to his armor. He had 10 stacks. Now he's got the unblockable. Just kind of turning this fight into what started off the first minute and a half to be a fairly straightforward, fairly easy-ish fight against Future Antman. I'm making it very, very difficult on myself. So we're just going to start doing some medium lights, or medium, in a couple lights, ending that combo after 4 hits instead of going to 5. Throw some special ones. He's got a lot of furies up there. It's going to hurt if we get hit. So we're being really cautious at this point. We're going to dex everything on the special one. There he gets unstoppable. You notice? I finally noticed it for the first time. Another fury buff up there. Just this fight can go south so quick. Here I'm trying to stack on the ruptured. Screwed up the unstoppable. Fortunately, I didn't get punished for it. Fortunately, he throws his special one. He's at 2%. I just want this guy to die. He does. Slow, turned ugly, full attack bonus, so let's move on. And after a quick pit stop to heal up some more, we go from Future Antman to Zola. Fortunately, on this node, it's not terrible. Here I do throw on an inbound boost just in case something goes south and I accidentally parry this guy when the incinerates aren't on, to turn off the node. So we've done this fight before. The last time we fought it, I think we finished with like 127 health or something ridiculous like that. So the plan here is to hopefully fight it a little bit better. Don't quite have our 5 debuffs on. Now we do. Now, we can parry freely, which is great because then you can heavy to knock them down. There, we burn one of our indestructible charges. Not the end of the world. Probably should have parried heavy there, but we do throw a special one. We get him to 20 charges. Now we need to get a parry and a clean heavy. And there we are. He's back down to 10. And that's kind of the way this fight goes. That's kind of what I'm looking for. Want to keep knocking him down when he gets about to 20 charges. There, he's at 20. There, we were slow on the heavy. And we eat a whole special 2. I am a little bit concerned now. I'm watching my health go, and it is chunking like mad. He is, under half. He's winning the health bar battle, which is not very comfortable. So I do throw this special 2. Does okay damage, not great. Here, I get sleep. Fortunately, he does not combo into the special one. There was a little bit of a pause there. I could get away. Wasn't sure about my incinerates there, so I do go into a striker, into my special one, finish him off. I got through him. It wasn't clean again. I finished with more health, so I'm taking that as a win. So close to a clean war. Unfortunately, I did drop that death to thing when he was just a hit or 2 away from closing it out clean. Still, a solid war overall, and that brings my season total to 67 kills and 9 deaths through the 9 wars. Not exactly thrilled with that death count, but hey, it is what it is. And if you enjoyed this video, please hit that like, subscribe, and let me know what you think down in the comments. Thanks for watching, and take care all.